Gratitude. First and foremost, just want to say that, you know what I mean? Gratitude. And yeah, man, as I return, you know what I mean, with a video from my YouTube, shouts out to the YouTube, Ghetto Physics 777, Gotti 777, Chief Westside 7. Y'all can follow me on Instagram at Chief Westside 7. And overall, you know what I mean, I'm just here to return with some great wisdom, great experiences, and just overall my take and where I've been at. You know what I mean? I know I've been out the way for a minute, and you know, I've been doing a whole lot, and I'm just here to put some paint where it ain't, you know what I mean, and bring everything back down to earth in the center, you know what I'm saying? So just want to say with first of all of that, gratitude, because definitely, you know, I always have gratitude. I'm always thankful for the opportunity and for the chance to experience and explore life, you know what I mean, in the way that I do, and also to come back and share with those of you that I connect with here on my YouTube. And so definitely just want to say gratitude, man. And one thing that I would like to start with, you know, or start with honoring and just giving gratitude for is the unknown. You know what I'm saying? I want to give gratitude for the unknown and for the mysteries and for the unseen of things. And I want to say the gratitude for being able to trust and have strength within that unknown, you know what I mean? So the gratitude of perhaps faith, you know what I mean, as some people like to call it. I'm just gonna speak truth from spirit, you know what I mean? When you are divinely guided, when you are spiritually operating, consciously operating in the spirit, and are doing, you know, what you need to do or what you want to do according to your soul and spirit, you know what I'm saying? When you meet yourself in, let's say, the harmonic resonance field of who you are and who you are called to be, then, you know, not only can you or will you find more gratitude, but then you'll find more wisdoms and things that you may have not known. And so the lessons, you know, of what you need to know and need to be studying become greater, and they don't meet you, you know what I'm saying, with disrespect, with foul volatility. They don't meet you in harshness. They don't meet you, you know what I'm saying, where they don't meet you in a shallow energy, you know what I'm saying? So when you understand the energy of light, you know what I mean, and the power of light and the light that you hold, you know what I mean? And when I say light, I really just mean truth, information, consciousness, wisdom, and that which it is, you know what I'm saying? So when you understand the light that you are emitting, conducting, projecting, generating, being as is, then you could also understand when and where and how you are guided in the times of where it may seem like not, or the times where it seems like it's just completely unknown or you just don't know, you know what I mean? So to demystify a lot of one's own journey through commitment and being discerning, you know what I mean? Being committed and also having that discernment as to what you commit to, what you connected to, or who you are connected with, and everything that you intend for in your experience. That shit is, at least for me right now, and I'm sure many others, but it seems to be that it is so complementary, and that's where I find the gratitude at, because what you might think that you don't have enough for, or what you might think that you are too much for, you know what I'm saying, you could find where you are just enough, you know what I'm saying, or in a lot of spaces and places, or let's say in different spaces and places where you may have not been, or where you been hesitant on going, or you've been procrastinating to do or get to. These are where a lot of spaces and places of gratitude is looking to meet you in who you are and who you are to be. I say who you are because every day I feel it's a consistency when it comes to the frequency of spirit and energy and working with yourself, as yourself, and being yourself. So everything and then every day is spiritual. It ain't like you know, it ain't like a performance or anything where, okay, if I don't do this one day, you know, I'm not in the spirit, or I'm not doing anything spiritual, or I'm not conscious, you know what I'm saying? So none of that, no. But it comes to a point where you can be taught by your own soul and spirit. And not only that, you trust the lessons and the wisdoms that come from your own knowledge, consciousness, and information that exists inside of you. So you can then, let's say, gratify a lot of the things you are learning with your present reality or your experience. Man, that's where, let's say that harmony, is then that harmony is then complementary to the steps and the ways in which you walk, to the breaths you took, to the thoughts that you thunk, you know what I'm saying? But to all things that it help, take to gather oneself in the moment or in the present to be. You dig what I'm saying? So not just who you are, but also who you are to be. Because when you are freely operating and you're operating freely, then the truth in you and the truth that will reveal or come through you or for you, it will be seen through you or as you, and you will see it. You know what I'm saying? So the trust and the strength of that, I find, is so beautiful right now, because what it has been showing me is something of a thank you from myself, from my higher self. A thank you for trusting the divine guidance, so between me and my spirit guides and ancestors and, my universe, the gratitude is coming from a place of trusting one's own innate, nature, you know what I'm saying? And this is where also that shadow work can really, it can really be coming up in different ways. I say that to say, because what you could be vastly or fastly attracting, you know what I'm saying, in such a way based on, your energy, your consciousness, and where you're at, it would tell a lot about you. Or how can I say? Yeah, it would tell a lot about you. It'll be able to read back to you who you are, where you are, what you are, like an oracle. You know what I mean? So that's something that I've very much been in tune with, having fun with, enjoying it, the good, the bad, the indifferent, and everything that I've just been able to observe and learn from in my own journey and experience, especially in these recent months of from May up until today, nigga. You know what I mean? July 1st. And so definitely shouts out to July, shouts out to Cancer, to the Gemini, and all the other signs, man. It's just that type of time. But I've been in such a space of freedom, honestly, with just my place in the truth, my wisdom and my knowing. I've been in such a place, man. I just been like, fuck all the dogma. I've been like, fuck all this shit, man, because it don't make you no greater or no lesser. You know what I'm saying? So you can know everything, you know what I'm saying? You can have everything materialistically, or even have all the books and be all the shit, you know what I mean? But if you're not able to apply the information where it is needed, or rather yet, if you're not able to apply yourself where you are needed, or where you are mostly desired in your high requirement of self and maintenance, then definitely you won't even get to experience or explore said consciousness for what it really is, or you won't get to experience or explore the spirit or the divine for what, let's say, the soul and spirit is trying to reveal unto you, unto itself. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, shit, I've been just like sitting back, because I don't want to overstep, within my own boundaries, let alone, but not even that. Like I say, I don't want to be overbearing, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of my message, you know what I'm saying? So when I say overbearing, I don't want to, what is the word, or what is the way that I'm trying to express this? Because I know what I'm feeling. But overall, okay, yeah. I don't want to overcompensate, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to overcompensate, and then I don't want to saturate my message and what I like to talk about and what I have been, taught, learned, and all that. Just trying to force a message or force an audience or force a connection to anything. I gives a fuck. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter, because when you know who you are, and when you are in tune with who you are, and you are consistent and committed to that which you are, the relationship that you have with yourself. Not only is it sacred, but it grows. You know what I'm saying? That relationship that you have, it calls for you to grow in that relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because let's say when it comes to the spirit and let's say things of the soul, nature, you know what I'm saying? We'll just say connections, relationships, and things that are beyond time happen much more, let's say, quicker, faster, in the ways that they kind of align themselves or come together. So where one might even feel pressure, or where one might even feel, let's say, responsible and all of that extra shit, right? Pay attention to see where that's coming from, or why is that even coming up? You know what I mean? Based on your patterns, based on what you got going on, based on what you want to do, based on what you're not doing, all this shit. Everything will then become of its own inner dialogue based on how you are not only connected with yourself, but connected within your reality and your experience as you are creating it. So definitely the sacred relationship that you have with yourself, or just the sacred relationship in general, is let's say it's been called for an upgrade, you know, and I feel like that's for everybody, you know. But if you're not in tune enough within the body and mind to understand where you gotta align and harmonize and synchronize with all of the then you know shit, you might box yourself in subconsciously or accidentally, you know what I'm saying? You might box yourself in. And even I had to catch myself, you know, just when it comes to some of my habits and some of my patterns and some of my shit, you know, it's shit that I've even already haven't healed and worked on, you know what I mean? So even when it comes to things of that nature, when it's like repetition and mind control and all the shit, but what I'm really trying to get to is that the energy of breakthroughs is not through all of these tools, should I say, though they could be useful, though they could be helpful and they can contribute to that. But the true breakthrough, or let's say the true breakthrough is through you. You know what I mean? The true breakthrough is through you giving yourself the opportunity, a chance to let's say walk that walk. And that'll be the walk of the unknown, or the walk of that which may be challenging. It may not even be that it's unknown. It's just challenging. You're just like, man, what the fuck? I don't think I can do this. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? So however you are corresponding with your reality and experience right now could be calling, or more likely is calling, for an upgrade in the sacred relationship and communication that one has with their higher selves in the universe and the divine will. Because that's just what it is. And I would say when you are consistent and committed to operating in that energy, you know what I'm saying? Definitely it's gonna require you to be on beat in this life. You know what I mean? It's gonna require you to be in that flow and know how to operate that flow in this life, just based on the life that you not only are already living, but the life that you are then creating from the soul below, you know what I mean, or from within the soul without, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that I like to kind of just shed light on too. I've been decoding the fuck out of that, you know what I mean, just when it comes to understanding the nature of these fucking terms, metaphors, idioms. I mean, however you want to call it, nigga, it is what it is, bro. You know, it's language, nigga. But I realize that nothing is without, you know what I mean? So ain't nothing outside of you. You feel me? Ain't nothing outside of me. And that's just as I speak, nigga, ain't nothing outside of nigga. And so I like to say, as within, so it is. And so I resonate with that because it's a few, you know, priestess and wise women who I've recognized, you know, that, you know, the name is spoke unto me, and the name was So It Is. And shout out to Yee Mook, So It Is written. But I was wondering and questioning, like, okay, on a different level, I was wondering, like, dang, what is the So It Is? You know what I'm saying? But then I was in a moment, this wasn't recent, but I was just in a moment, I'm like, man, if everything is within, then there's no without. It's nothing without. I don't give a fuck what it is. It's not, nothing's outside of you. So let's say when it comes to presence or present, you know what I'm saying? as within, so it is. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Because even in the so it is, then comes a form of some form of realization or awareness or even idea, perhaps, where as you get to understand what it is or what it is then so. Right. But I ain't gonna get all into the word wizardry, you know what I mean? Because I am a wizard of words, you know what I mean? So, I could get into words and go and find so many worlds and pockets and themes and shit that I don't even need, that don't even matter right now. It don't even matter right now. But it's all good. It's all good. Shouts out, man. Shouts out. But yeah, just wanted to start this message with the gratitude and just speaking on the gratitude, man, just how gratitude has been showing itself through me, but yet at the same time in my surrounding environment and reality, man. It's been lit. And another thing that I did recently, man, I don't know if y'all ready for that. 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 Fuck it. I'm gonna let y'all have it. But yeah, man. Your boy is starting a new venture. You know what I'm saying? Your boy is starting a new venture when it comes to, your boy in the kitchen cooking and putting together recipes and just, doing everything a nigga do just within the flow and the harmony of the kitchen, man. You know what I'm saying? But no, in that kitchen, I have found myself, exploring a lot of my creative abilities. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the vegetarian and the whole, the vegan diet, and I don't even like to talk like that, but I don't eat meat, you know what I mean? So when it comes to chicken, pork, all that other shit, I ain't fucking with it, man. You know what I mean? I might eat a salmon once out the year, nigga, but I don't even do that. You know what I mean? Like that ain't like I'm strictly into my greenery, you know what I mean? Shouts out to the Kush. No, but I'm strictly into my vegetables, and you know what I'm saying? And I also love the kitchen, you know what I mean? I've been strictly into that just for these past 6-7 years. And man, I'm looking to start a new venture. I'm starting a new venture with the food and with cooking. So definitely check your boy out and be on the lookout for that, because you know what I mean, we gonna put it together, man. But yeah, here we go. So where we at? Going beyond status quo and harmonizing flow, and this is something that was talked about earlier in the year when it comes to going beyond the gods, you know what I mean? Going beyond status quo, going beyond the dogma, going beyond the 3D or even the 4D and the 5D in any dimension. You know what I mean? That's another thing I've been just kind of not battling with, but I've been in it so much. So I've been observing it where I'm just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Because you got to understand who you are as a multi-dimensional being, or even as an extra dimensional being, as a hyper dimensional being. You got to understand yourself beyond the self. You know what I mean? So understanding yourself beyond the self physically, then more spiritually and soulfully, you can also, let's say, yes, you can shape the shift and change the narrative according to how you want to. You know what I mean? You can write your own story as you are the author. So how you authorize reality, how you authorize things to be in the way that they ought to be, first starts with you. And that can challenge one by going beyond the status quo or leaving the status quo. And so oftentimes the status quo of humanity is bullshit. The status quo of what a man or a woman or any of that, a lot of the status quos are not of one's own origin or identity or self. So therefore, when it comes to how you identify yourself as a soul or spirit or energy being, how does your soul identify itself? How does your spirit realize and know itself? You know what I'm saying? The responsibility and requirement is on you to remember who you are. And this is where, when it comes to going beyond status quo, it's going beyond all the things that you think you know, not that which you know or don't know, because you still thinking that you know, or you thinking that you don't know. So to go beyond the status quo of the thoughts and ideas and concepts of family, friends, society, the workplace, I'm just saying, nigga, anything, nigga, almost everything must go, real shit. But no, real shit, going beyond the status quo, because you don't want to leave yourself attached to dogmas, idioms, ideas, concepts, or even events that may have occurred. You know what I'm saying? To where you then are measured or judged by shit that don't even got nothing to do with you or that ain't gonna benefit you in the long run. So it's like, why am I holding this over my head, or why is this even being held over my head in any sort of way? So when it comes to the practicality, when it comes to the practicality of the practitioner and the individual of that whom is walking the path, you know what I'm saying? One's own will responsibility, I find it'll come to a point where you got to be, self-assured. And this is where that the wisdom of that gratitude, you know what I'm saying? The wisdom of your soul and the lessons and things that you would then go through away from all of that, which you have gathered, but within the books, within the classes, within the connections and people you have made, all that shit, that's great. You know what I mean? But what you are rather destined for, based on your own energy, that has its own way of showing itself, revealing itself, even being itself as it is one's own energy. So then to learn and remember and remind oneself of that which is, and even to be able to filter out that which isn't, and let's say be able to establish knowledge and distinguish knowledge from ignorance and all that which is and which isn't. You feel me? Overall, you can harmonize, you know what I'm saying, with the flow. One will harmonize with the flow just by being themselves. You know what I'm saying? So even when you can recognize yourself in that Christ figuration, or in that Christ consciousness, or in that Christ being, or in that Godhead, or in that Godhood, you won't limit yourself to having to serve it. You won't limit yourself to having to appease something other than one's own soul, nature, and knowing. You know what I'm saying? Because you understand beyond time how one is capable or able to grow and do the things that one will in the soul and spirit. So let's say, how are you inspired? Where are you inspired? And where are you as the spirit in the body? You know what I mean? Consciousness. And overall, what I take from that, and what I would say to that, is self-realization. You know what I mean? How acquainted are you in your self-realization? You know what I mean? And that goes back to the commitment and the connectedness of, one's own energy, but yet path and journey and experience, So how much are you remembering and realizing throughout your daily experience? And that's another thing too, not to be so caught up in the mundane shit, but let's say when it comes to the signs, symbols, and messages, and let's say the way that the universe communicates through to you. You feel what I'm saying? You got to know who you are, but at the same time, you got to know the language. You got to know your language. You feel me? And that's the language of your light. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just saying though, but in all of that, when you have that relationship, right? And then when you are growing within that, you know what I mean? One can find themselves going beyond the status quo, or being called to go beyond the status quo of what they know or think they know of the gods and so forth and so on. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not that none of that is valid or is true or untrue, but rather, where are you in the place of truth? And that's where, word is bond. Man. That's how I know it's divine. Because I've been saying this shit to myself, as far as, people love to how can I say? They love to play with the truth, if I could just say it like that. I don't know the word right now, but they love to play with the truth. And when I say play with the truth, you got people who are my truth, your truth, her truth, his truth, they truth, them truth, all these bullshits. You know what I mean? That's what I'm gonna call them, bullshits. Because the truth is inevitable, in that the truth is universal. So truth is truth. Where you are in the truth will determine who you are as being a truther. You know what I'm saying? Or let's say as being true. You know what I'm saying? So that's why the saying, it says, know thyself, and to thy own self be true. Because that's all that there is. So when it comes to the truth in self, or the self as the truth, right? Where are you in who you are as you are, or let's say, or not, and that could be, a headbanger for a lot of motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying? Just when it comes down just to knowing self and knowing thyself and operating in that knowing, whether consistently and committedly. I don't even think that's a word, but nigga, it don't matter. Yeah, that's something that I feel is something so big. Like, okay, the truth, a nigga can know that. A lot of people know truth or the truth, right? But where is your place in the truth? Are you on the side of a lie? Or are you on the side of truth? And that which it is then justice, freedom, love, peace, and everything else that the truth will set you free. You get what I'm saying? And so, it's just like, I've been in this sacred space with myself. I've been in this sacred space with my own sacred relationship with myself, and more even realizing, the mental, you know what I'm saying? I realize a lot of this mental shit, man, that the mind, and that we can even make up in the mind just for safety and compatibility, that is rather unnecessary. You know what I mean? Especially when it's time to go beyond the status quo or go beyond the gods. You know what I'm saying? So indeed, when it comes to, spaces and places and things of that nature, foundations, nigga, affirmations, nigga, manifestations, nigga. I don't know, don't get me rapping. But nah, but what I was saying, when it comes to the truth being able to exist on its own and be free or independent of itself, ain't no my truth, your truth against their truth and they truth and all of that. That is definitely connected to dogma. But I will say that the place, your place in truth as it is universal, and within that universal alignment of whatever journey or path that you are on or set path on, then ultimately that's how the truth will reveal and communicate unto you, and let's say be known unto oneself. You feel me? So that goes back to the question, where are you, or where's your place in the truth? You know what I'm saying? Because the truth is going to be what the truth is going to be, and the truth is also going to reveal and show itself unto itself when needed. You know what I mean? So let's say when it comes to you and your own place in the truth as it is universally existent, you know what I mean? As it is just what it is, like omniscient, we could say, where are you? And only you would know whether you are in on the truth or you are outside the truth. Because if you, perhaps you outside the truth, you might be in a lie. You know what I'm saying? Because nigga, what are you doing outside the truth? What are you doing outside yourself? What are you doing playing around? And I'm not saying there are no greater things than what is already true. But that's why one must be committed and consistent with that which is true in order for the truth to keep revealing and unveiling in one's own divine willing. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I've been kind of feeling about that, and that's something that I've been dancing with, as far as one's place in the truth as it is, you know what I'm saying? As it is, you know what I mean? Let's say as within, so it is, you know what I mean? So one's place in the truth and foundation, I find that means a lot to how then even how one learns, how one receives, how one gives and shares wisdom and all the shit. You know what I mean? That has a lot, because a lot of times people ain't even in their own place of the truth. They in the truth. They somewhere. They experiencing it. They in it, but it ain't theirs. They're not the author of it, so they couldn't tell you how it even came about. They couldn't speak to you of no origin. They couldn't speak to you of no real wisdom or history or nothing, because let's say if it really got down to it, they don't even know. You know what I'm saying? They don't know nothing. And so, unfortunate, but it's all good. That's why we're here to put some paint where it ain't, man. To go beyond status quo and harmonizing the flow. And flow in another, way that I've been looking at flow is the frequency of light operating wheel, And so FLOW, flow. Frequency of light operating wheel. That's something that I've been creating in my own dialogue and communication with myself. Just understanding how, flow and how things move. You know what I'm saying? So how things move and the way they move, and that is all light, whether it be you seeing me, whether you be seeing cars driving by, whether you looking at yourself in the mirror, or whether you just, you know what I'm saying, in a material plane, it is all light forms. You know what I mean? So the light formation and that which it is, you know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me not lose my train of thought. How is that light operating, or how are you operating that light in your divine will, which is also a frequency? You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to the frequency of light, that which you are, you know what I mean? Your frequency, your energy, your light being, you know what I mean? The frequency of light operating will flow. Simple as that. And that's just what that is. But going forward and continuing with this video, man. Recently, you know what I'm saying, I had a journey, man. I might have to come back and do a whole video separate, just talking about the journey itself, because the journey was lit. You know what I'm saying? The journey was lit. It was more lit than what I thought it was in the moment. You know what I mean? But in the flow of it all, it was what it was. You know what I'm saying? I made it. And that was something I would say, even in this now moment and after the fact, I got to admire that, just because of how much that has been contributed to the event, you know what I mean? Or to the journey. But I'll even go back a little bit. The grid work event that I put together at Centinela Park, that shit was lit. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to the meditations and the grid work, you know what I mean, the activations over in Inglewood, that shit was lit. I did not have a phone, so this is another reason why I'm coming back. You know what I'm saying? And what the niggas say, back like I never left. You know what I'm saying? Back and I'm better. All the shit. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I'm returning. You know what I mean? New phone. Who this? All the shit. You know what I mean? But no, the grid work event at Centinela Park was lit, man. You know, and I wanna shed the wisdom on that, man, because I've been talking about consistency and commitment throughout this video quite a bit, and that was a great one that taught me that, you know what I mean, because nobody showed up. So shout out to everybody that reposted. Shout out to everybody that liked it, you know what I mean? And shout out to everybody that commented and was popping shit in the DM. But nobody showed up to the park, you know what I mean? Nobody showed up to my event, which I showed up, nigga. And so it didn't matter, you know what I mean? And I promise you, it sound crazy. It sound like it sound. It may look like it look. I don't give a fuck, nigga. And it was about a week or two later that I received the wisdom, like, yeah, that was divine. And so I'm like, what? And so, understandably, my first event, I ain't never threw a party in my fucking life, nigga. And it ain't even about parties or nothing like that, but I be to myself, nigga. I be chilling, you know what I mean? I don't do too much. But I know it's not only been a caller for me, I've been wanting to, you know what I mean, to open the way and open up the space where brothers and sisters can come together, you know what I'm saying, in a space of meditation, in a space of peace, in a space of, you know, self-liberation, you know what I mean, and where, you know, we can all connect and grow together, but at the same time learn from one another, you know. I would say, what is the word? More spiritually, I guess, if I can say that, more spiritually and away from society or the dogmatic practices of which we all have been taught traditionally throughout time. You know what I mean? So to be able to break the spells and to break the patterns of certain things, you know what I mean? For one, I'm going to say it like this, how it was said to me. I received the call. So it was in me and unto me to answer that call. No matter if nobody showed up or not, I was to show up for myself, because it was my idea, it was my creation, it was my heartfelt energy that compelled me to do what I wanted to do and did. And so therefore, rather in the space of the universe, right? The trees, nigga, the birds, nigga, the insects, you know what I'm saying? Even some of the people who just happened to be at the park that day, you know what I'm saying? It was all rather complimentary. It was all like a salute, just based on the fact that, okay, the spirit and the unseen forces knows what a nigga want to do. You know what I'm saying? My higher self is very aware of what the fuck I intended for, what I wanted to do, or what I was called to do in that time. And so when it comes to, let's say, the mind, like, oh shit, people ain't showing up, motherfuckers ain't hit me, nigga, I didn't have a phone, nigga, I lost my fucking phone. You know what I'm saying? During that time, nigga, my phone went bad, so I didn't even have a phone to communicate and connect with anybody. You know, if anybody wanted to hit me up, hey, are you here? Are you there? Or whatever. Nigga, none of that mattered. Clearly, nothing mattered, because stepping into this space of manifestation, I'll just call it, but stepping into this space of grid work and activation, that which I've never done so openly, it called for me, and it required me in my light, truth, but yet my seriousness, you know what I'm saying? My certainty, you know? And I don't even look at it like that, because it was, not saying I don't look at it like that, but in the moment, nigga, I was just doing what I was called to do, you know what I mean? And even in that same, you know, even in that moment, it was love, you know what I mean? I enjoyed it. I made it the best fucking moment, nigga. It was turned. Shout out Citadella, Inglewood, you know the wave. And so, you know the wave, West Side. But when it come down to it, the spirit put it to me like, nigga, you expected this, that, the third from people, places, and things that may have never seen you before. You know what I'm saying? How in the fuck do you think they gonna just correspond, or just, you know what I'm saying? So really, it was the spirit putting the idea on me to open me up and even connect with myself more in a place that I so love dearly, Citadella, and even opening up the heart space to even allow others more into my universe, my experience, my whole year, you know what I'm saying? And having never done no shit like that before, a nigga can't expect, like in the mind, a nigga might think, oh, it's gonna be lit, you know what I mean? Homies tapping in, this, that, the third, whatever. Nigga, hell no, you know what I'm saying? The spirit got a whole nother other, nigga, because the sacred relationship that you have, not only with yourself, but the environment, the earth, the dimension, you know what I'm saying, nigga? You gotta know who you are, nigga. You gotta know what the fuck you doing, and what that is even valued and worth, and what that is meant for, who that is meant for, you know? And so the lesson of that was really about self-commitment. You know what I mean? Because I had all the rights to say, nah, I don't want to do this. I had all the rights to say, I can't do this. I didn't have a phone, so I had no way to play I had no way to play no fucking sounds or no meditation music. I had nothing that I needed all of that. But when it comes to how I prepared it in my mind of imagination, you know, I would have loved to have some sound bowls and tuning forks and a couple of other people and all the shit, but no. And this was something that was a lesson that was rather taught to me so lovely, because I enjoyed it, and at the same time I got everything that I wanted and more without even wanting it. You know what I'm saying? So just when it comes to the interconnectedness of the spirit and the soul nature and everything that would then reveal through one's own beingness here, that's something that I've been just like fascinated with, because I've been seeing myself in so many other spaces and places where it fits me. You know what I'm saying? Or let's say, yeah, I won't say like it fits me, but like, nigga, it fits me. It fits me and who I ought to be. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to a soul and spiritual nature of being, you know what I mean? The people, places, and things that you engage with, that you might interact with, how do they complement you? You know what I mean? And even if they don't, you got a whole fucking freaking philosophy and journey of understanding why are you in a space where it is not reciprocal or balanced between you and that which you are interacting with. You know, I ain't gonna say entertaining, because that ain't what I'm interested in. But yeah. So when it comes to the grid work and the event that I hosted, man, I just want to say thank you. You feel me? Thank you to my higher self. Thank you to my guys. Thank you to the spirit that put that on my heart. You know what I mean? For me to do that. and for me to return and do it again, because we're going to do it again. You know what I'm saying? So I had to do it for myself. And this was I would say it's weird. It's some real shit. I had to open the way for myself. As much as I want to open the way or would like to open the way for others and bring them to a particular space or place in themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say as a guide, I had to be a guide unto my own self as to where my heart resides and where I'm being called as a soul and spirit, where and what the fuck I'm being called for, and how is this even, let's say, answering to me. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to one's own calling and how we call for things into our experience, or we might be even called into certain situations, how is one answering, or how is this even answering and corresponding with who you are and where you are in your life? You know what I'm saying? That shit means a lot, because if not, you'll just find yourself out here just doing a bunch of happy-go-lucky, hunky-dory, hippie ass shit, and it ain't doing nothing. And so stop all that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm even go as to say, do it for you. You know what I mean? Whatever you do, consider yourself first. You know what I'm saying? Because you matter. You are enough. You exist, and you have your own universe. So even in your own universe, you have your own authority. You know what I'm saying? You have your own beingness to where even beyond entitlement, it's like, of course, we understand people be feeling entitled, but beyond that, you know what I'm saying, you have an awareness that says, fuck all that, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's just how it is, man. And that was something that I felt was it was something so meaningful to me, because I did feel some type of way. Not gonna lie, I did feel some type of way. You know, just because if you lying to kick it, like, oh, I'm gonna come through, man, I'm gonna come fuck with you, I'm gonna come support, whatever, and you don't do it, nigga, I'm gonna look at you as a sucker. You know what I'm saying? But word is bond, it wasn't even that type of party. You know what I'm saying? This was a real journey and lesson and something that I taught myself through just free will, you know, because not to say I don't know what inspired me, but I feel that I put so much work in a lot of these places, man. When you spend places, when you spend time, you know what I'm saying? And some people might be spending places too. But when you spend time, you know, and when you spend time growing in certain areas, you know, whether it be, you know, wherever it is. But when you spend time in certain places, meditating, growing, working within the earth, you know what I mean? It's a sacred relationship that you have. And I find, you know, beyond myself, just as an individual, I would love to share that with those who are open to themselves to connect with the nature in them and around them as it is theirs, as it is yours, as it is your fucking right. So a part of that was about me realizing that in my own independence and individuality, as much as to, like, let's say, why am I doing this and how do I expect, you know, or let's say, how do I expect and what do I expect from this? You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I couldn't be much more thankful and much more honored in that, because I'm like, damn, when it comes to my soul, my spirit and everything, let's say, doing what it do, you know what I mean? I'm like, damn, nigga, not that, let's say I ain't wrong and I ain't wrong and I ain't wrong. I'm not wrong for having the idea or feeling it in me, and I'm not wrong for wanting what I want of that, as far as to share that space with like-minded souls and so forth and so on. And a nigga not wrong for not showing up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not wrong for attending my own event, celebrating myself, celebrating the space of earth and nature and everything else within it, you know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I'm not wrong for being myself and doing what I was called to do. And in the same token, nigga, what? I done got a new phone, nigga. Nigga, I done got some more money, nigga. Nigga, I'm just saying though. It's funny to me as I'm explaining it, because I didn't see it at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't recognize it, but I knew. Like I know how shit be communicating, so I'm like, all right, bet, you know, but I just didn't expect it as such. And the way shit happened, I'm like, man, it's gotta be the fucking Matrix. Cause I'm like, bro, how I host the event, how I post it, you know what I mean? Knowing me, keeping shit to myself, nigga, how I post the shit and then my phone is just start tweaking, glitch out, nigga, it don't work no more. And so it was overall, it was bigger than what I thought. but it was bigger than me. And so I'm so thankful that I could get out of my own head, should I say, and be consistent and committed to where I've been inspired, where I've been called, and where I've been led. And that was so much, and it was so much more from that. That's what I want to say. It was so much more from that, which I couldn't see, that all it took was me. I was enough. I am enough. And it was such a moment, you know what I mean, for me to go through and do everything in that day. Nigga, that day was lit. If I really just go through that whole day, that day was lit. But, you know, it was something that, it was something of a lesson that you may not even know you are learning, but you're learning. Or you may not even know you're being taught by yourself, should I say that? And so you learning this shit, and you getting signs and all this shit like that, right? But you might not even be seeing where you and your higher self is having this sort of conduct, you know? And the conduct is between you and your actions and all the other shit. Because I'll say it like this: your higher self, the soul in you, wants exactly what you want. Why you think you're in a body? You know what I'm saying? So the feelings and the whimsical, you know, harmonies and melodies and all the songs and tunes, their frequencies and shit that you sing, you can imagine that your soul is humming the same shit. You know what I'm saying? You can imagine that all the dances and all the movements and shit that you make as a character trait and as a being, you can imagine that your soul and spirit is emanating and animating that same energy. And so when you can even go beyond the identity of trying to find what it is or how it is or why it is or trying to identify it, and just understand it, you know what I'm saying? And then understand self as it is, you know what I'm saying? Man, you could find so much more within your own, you know, journey, but then within the world itself, because you're not allowing judgment or the ego or the miscellaneous bullshit to get in the way. And that was something that was basically challenged for me in this moment, nigga. Because, you know, oftentimes, nigga, I don't have a phone, so I can't go to my event. I got to cancel the event. I got to do all that. You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. You know what I mean? And so the mind and the mental will make up so much shit just to stay, you know, boxed in. And yeah, man, I said no to that. You know what I'm saying? I said no to that because I just don't like that. Ain't how I rock, man. And shout out to Paul Hardcastle. Cause I can't go for that. No, can do. You feel what I'm saying? And that's just what it is, bro. A nigga deserve to be free. A nigga deserve to be free. I enjoy being free. And when it comes to even me being free and even opening up the space of freedom, it was really called for me to meet myself in such a space where I don't want to say I don't know, but I don't know. I don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the transcendence, when it comes to the alchemy and raising the vibrations of things, you know what I'm saying? What I guess in my heart, it was really in my heart to not just do it for myself, but to open that space up and share with others or whoever might feel called to come through. And the fact that nobody did, I was like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I was like, damn. Because I'm like, fuck, bro. Like, a nigga, you know, it is what it is. I ain't even about to go there. I was like, damn. But it was so beautiful. It was so beautifully aligned that nobody needed to be there but my own motherfucking behind. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I was like, that's some powerful shit. You know, just when it comes to the archetypal aspects of how we organize our experiences and lessons and the things that we then go through. You feel what I'm saying? And even at the same time, we choose. You know what I mean? Because you don't got to do what you don't want to do. You know what I mean? You don't got to do shit. You know what I mean? Don't get me to fucking. Don't get me to talking motherfucking rebellious and all sorts of nigga, fuck everything. Nah, nigga. Don't get me started, nigga. I'm not the one you should ask for. But overall, that was an amazing experience for me, and it's more to come, because it's more to come. It's more to come. It's more to come. And it's more where that came from. So I just want to say thank you to the earth, and thank you to the great earth. You know what I mean? I want to call it that. Thank you to the great earth of Inglewood. You know what I mean? Because that's what it was, And yeah, man. Yeah. Shit, we 49 minutes in. I'm going to leave it right there, Just want to say Westside, 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 gratitude, you know what I'm saying? Chief Westside 7 on Instagram, you know what I mean? And I will be getting my Patreon together, you know what I mean? I've been saying that for a minute, but don't mind me, you know what I mean? I've been just, looking to organize some things so I can upload and get shit flowing over there, you know what I mean? But overall, I really been wanting to just gather my fucking self so I can come talk with y'all on YouTube or just, share and shine and do what a nigga do. But I honestly been so deep into myself. I've been so away from the fuckery, you know what I mean? Where I'm just like, man, I don't even know how to, you know what I mean? And then a part of me, like, I don't even want to know, because the shit that's going on in the lower spaces and dimensions of the earth right now, nigga, man, I don't even know, bro. I don't want to know. So it's some shit, it's some shit. And I find it's best to not get caught up in that, not be so consumed in that, because we all got our own, responsible, we all got our own responsibilities that we ought to take care of in our own independence and individuality. So that's something that I find we should never forget or never forsake within this world, you know what I'm saying? Because too many times, we let ourselves go, you know what I'm saying? And in letting ourselves go for people, places, and things that may not serve or complement us in our being as to who we truly are, that will only leave us high and dry or worse. You know what I'm saying? So, you don't want to be that. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be like that. And yeah, man, I just want to close this message out with love, man. Love and gratitude. Much respect to anybody who come through, and you know what I mean? If you fucking with it, like, share, comment, subscribe. I will return. Westside.